Good evening. Uh, Welcome to Sunday Night Bible Study. I'm Robbie. This is Christy.
Hold on. TikTok. There it is. TikTok was taking a minute.
Hi, TikTok.
Hello.
Good to be here. Sunday Night Bible Study. We're in the book of Revelation. Today we'll be starting the first 10 verses of Revelation
13.
13. The beast from the sea. Beast from the sea. That was weird.
I'm going to make
sure.
sure.
Went live.
Yeah.
Live.
I always check while you're.
Nope.
Hmm?
I want to cut things a little bit shorter once in a while.
Well, and then it gives you more time to maybe discuss because
because I love to go off.
Yeah.
That's still on.
Okay.
There you go. I mean, yeah. You guys are still here. That's awesome. Thank you for still being here. Well, so we just started. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear. Now, didn't we explain when John says
Yeah.
like he's trying his darndest to describe something.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt there.
No, you're
And
good.
his mouth was like the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him power. Gave him power. Gave him his power, his throne, his authority. And I saw one of his heads, and it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. So they worshipped the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast, and who is able to make war with him?" And he was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And he was given authority to continue for 42 months. Write that down, 42 months. This is how great God is. This is how specific he is. This is how detailed he is. Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and those who dwell in heaven. It was granted him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And the authority was given to him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. And all who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose name has been written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. He who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He who kills with a sword must be killed with a sword. There is patience and faith of the saints. This one, you can see, once again, these are likes. It's like. This is John. This is the first century gentleman. They're not stupid. These people were not dumb. The Holy Spirit has inspired this for John to write this down. Okay, he was caught up into heaven, either in a dream or physically, and he's seen this. God gave him a revelation, hence the name, a vision of future things and past things and present things, all in the same letter. Just remember, this is not just broken up into books. This is all one letter that John wrote down. This is a vision that John wrote down.
Mm-hmm.
So don't break it up and say, well, what this and this and it. Don't break that all down like that. We don't know how the letter was broke down or however he was given the vision. But John will describe it just as I would be. Well, it looked like this. It looked like a cross, or it looked like a leopard. It looked like it had 10 horns. It looked like it had been wounded,
Mm-hmm.
So just give him grace in that. This is a first century gentleman trying to describe probably 21st or 22nd century stuff. Hopefully not 26. Hopefully the Lord doesn't make it live that long. So verse, you have a paraphrase of the whole thing?
Oh, well, actually, the other one's going to go back.
I love hearing you say it because usually your paraphrases are pretty good, or it's a whole description, Because I have one. The beast that John saw came out of the sea is a composite of the 4 wild animals that Daniel saw. If you read Daniel 7, you'll see that.
It says here, the beast rising from the sea is the 6 or 7 major figures described in this part of Revelation.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Bible
That's what I wanted
geographically would identify this as the Mediterranean Sea. Therefore, the beast rise from the region of the Mediterranean Sea. The beast is literally human, but in terms beast is used for a good reason. The Greek word theron.
Where you at?
Right here. Theron.
Yeah.
Conjectures up characteristics such as violent, ferocious, savage, and wild.
Yeah.
The beast John saw had 10 horns, 7 heads, with a diadems on the thorns. The picture recalls the description of 10 kings represented by the toes on the image Daniel interpreted to
Nebuchadnezzar.
Thank you. A mouthful always.
Remember, it was mixed. It was iron mixed with rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that gigantic rock, if you remember the story, was cast out without hands and cast down and hit the feet of iron and rock, right? And there you go.
And
Sorry.
that was Daniel 2:41. Revelation 17:12 tells us the 10 horns are 10 kings. The
Mhm.
7 heads are likely represents the 7 hills of Rome. The blasphemous name of the beast's head are not identified, but they may indicate that the beast, the powerful ruler in the Mediterranean region, commits blasphemy. This blasphemy may be what 2 Thessalonians 2:4 ascribes as the man of lawlessness. He opposes and exalts himself against every so-called God or object to worship, so that he takes his seat in the temple of God, proclaiming himself to be God. The first beast is the end times figure, often referred to as Antichrist. This is a political and social leader serving the interests of Satan during the events of the tribulation.
And then you have Satan, who is the backer. Then you have the Antichrist, who is the main character, physical character on the earth. And then you have his religious leader, who is the false prophet. Anything that God has, which is the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, the devil has to counterfeit.
Yep.
It has to counterfeit. That's every little thing.
He's trying to be just like God.
He
emulates God.
He emulates God, but he takes stuff that God has because he cannot create of his own. So he takes marriage and counterfeit it into same-sex marriage or gay marriage or whatever you want to call it. That's not marriage. Marriage is between a man and a woman. Hopefully that will get us blocked, but I don't really care too much. Mine says that the 4 creatures, the leopard, the bear, the lion, and the dragon, represent 4 kingdoms that would rise one after another: Babylon, Greece, Persia, and Rome. Yours is what I really wanted to see, the description of the cities and the rulers. The beast is the Antichrist. You can see that in 12:3, 17:3, and Daniel 7:7. Read Ezekiel and Daniel, and like you said, 2 Thessalonians. You'll see end times prophecy. Now, we were talking about Daniel and Ezekiel. You're talking about thousands of years prior to this, and even Thessalonians. And they're describing things fairly accurately like Revelation. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and his horns had 10 crowns, or the diadems, and on his head was a blasphemous name. Now, this is the description. The 7 heads or the 10 horns, like you said, are kingdoms that came out of Greece, that came out, they're all from one region, one Roman region. Those 10 kingdoms came from there. That's why a lot of people believe that the Antichrist will be a man of a hybrid man of Roman descent and Jewish descent. And he will be able to, because you look at the Arab nation, Saudi Arabia, all those guys, Iraq, Iran, I believe that they came from a Roman descent. And this man will be a. That's why some women don't trust men, because the Antichrist. They always give Eve crap for just being deceived, but the Antichrist is a man.
Yeah.
I believe he's going to be a hybrid between the Jew and a Roman, an Arab or Iranian or whatever, an Arab from Isaac and Ishmael, a hybrid of them. I believe he's going to be that, because that's the only way that you're going to bring that world together. Do you have anything for one? Anything? Oh, you've already dug into that. Now, now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. Now he's describing this. Was like. This is it's a description of the kingdom or the region that he's from.
It says right here, remember, these descriptions are meant to be symbolic.
Yeah. He doesn't look like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, his mouth like the mouth of a lion.
Mhm.
The dragon gave him power, his power, his throne, and his great authority. Um, Satan the dragon originates all evil of the tribulation, and the Antichrist the beast, along with his false prophet, and the conduit of his power. The term Antichrist comes from the Greek two Greek words which means against or instead of, thus Antichrist. To his name, true to his name, he will make war against Christ, his people, persecuting those who refuse to comply with his demands, and deceiving people and worshiping him as a false Christ. However, he will have an agent of Satan, and his words will be marked with blasphemy. Anything else on that one?
Daniel 7:3-7 mentions three beasts representative of certain empires.
Yeah.
As a rising from the sea. Daniel also mentions a fourth beast, a more powerful empire, meaning the reveted Roman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
The three empires represented by the lion, the bear, and the leopard are in order: Babylon,
Persia.
Persia, and Greece. These three empires follow each other in history. The Medes,
The Medes. Yeah.
the Medes and the Persians conquered Babylon Empire. The Greeks conquered the Persian Empire. The reveted Roman Empire will likely include conquered territories once held by Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece. The beast from the sea described in these verses is therefore head of the reveted Roman Empire, and he receives his power from the dragon, the devil. Also, the dragon gives him authority to reign as a king from his throne. This political social leader is the end times figure most commonly called as Antichrist.
Very nice. Let's read Daniel 7. I'm going to read Daniel 7. If I can find it again. I just had it, and for some reason I closed it. Oh, well.
Well, you were having trouble with the one streaming because the internet was being a little...
Yeah. We have one streaming service that streams both platforms at once. What was that? Daniel 7 and what, babe?
It was Daniel. Oh, I already went to the next one. Hold on. 7:3-7.
Okay. Daniel 7:3-7. And the four great beasts came from the sea, each different from the other. Isn't it? It's crazy how great God is. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, which is its wings were plucked off and it's lifted up from the earth and made to stand on the feet like a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And suddenly another beast, a second, like a bear, and this sound really, really close, is raised up on one side, and he had three ribs in his mouth between the teeth. And thus he said to it, rise, devour much flesh. And after this I looked, and there was another, like a leopard, which had on his back four wings of a bird. And the beast also had four heads, and dominion was given to it. And after that I saw nice visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong, and it had huge teeth, and devouring, breaking pieces, trampled down residue with great different. And different all the beasts were before the 10, and it had 10 horns. And I was considering the horns, and there was another horn, a little horn, coming up from among them. Before them were three first horns, and plucked out from the roots. I just listened to, who was it, Charles Stanley, or was it David Jeremiah was doing on Revelation, and he was talking about this. And you're a Charles Stanley fan. I'm a David Jeremiah fan. I like Charles Stanley too, but
there was something about his voice. It was so calming.
It's pretty cool that this is thousands of years prior to John's Revelation vision here. And it describes everything we just read right there about the three beasts. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just a description of maybe there's some people that have put it down as the Medo-Persians, like you said, Medo-Persians, Greece, and Rome, right? Mm-hmm. There was certain animals that these kingdoms bought as like their mascots. Like at my work, we have lions as a mascot. When you go to school, you had Spartans or rebels.
Rebels.
They're not rebels anymore, I don't think.
No, they're the Spartans now.
Yeah. Well, I went to Sierra Junior High, and they were the Stars, but now they're Spartans. Used to be Stars.
Well, I went to South High. Now South High Rebels.
Well,
my mom went there. My dad went there.
Foothill's always been Trojans. We've always given bagged on.
Now they're the Spartans.
Yeah, because they don't want to. Like our history doesn't mean anything. But okay, verse 3. Then I saw one of the heads, and it had been mortally wounded. His head, his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. I just read something about that. Satan cannot create anything new in his efforts to deceive the world. He only counterfeits what the real Creator has accomplished. So to echoes Christ's death and resurrection. Here's another counterfeit.
Mm-hmm.
This is, but there's a lot of commentators that believe that this is fake. This is a fake death. He acts like he is wounded.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unlike the witnesses, which we heard about, that they killed them, and well, have we talked about the witnesses? Yeah, we did.
Mm-hmm.
That they killed them and left them on the streets for everybody to see that they were dead for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what? They rose up again after the third day, and then they were taken up into heaven. Unlike that, this Antichrist will fake his wound, I believe, and fake his death. The Antichrist will fake as if, with the description as if,
a fatal wound,
his death, and then rise again. And just as Christ's resurrection sparked rapid growth in the church, the so-called resurrection of the Antichrist will cause the world to follow him, except for those whose name has been written in the Lamb's Book of Life. But if you saw this, if you were caught up, if you were stuck, I mean, it happens. There will be people that are not fully all in and will be stuck in the tribulation period. You will have to be mortally wounded. You will have to be martyred to get to heaven. The Antichrist will do everything. You think the government can get to you now? Just think if the power of the government of the whole world is in this person's hand. I don't know where I was going with that, but just believe that he's going to catch you. You're going to have to die. What do you have? 4 or 5? What was it? 3?
3. Perhaps this wound refers to the fall of the Roman Empire. And the healing refers to the empire's revival. The Roman Empire had 6 forms of government: kings, consuls, dictators, deferments, tribunes, and emperors. The 6th form under the Caesar ended, but will reappear in the tribulation and control roughly the same territory as it did prior to the collapse. This would correspond to a highly symbolic wounding and subsequently healing. Others see this as a reference to the Antichrist being physically stricken with a mortal wound and being raised from the dead by Satan. Some speculators even think a revived Judas will be this beast. That's a new one. I've never heard anybody kind of speculate on that. Though it is not well
supported. A resurrected Judas will be the beast?
Some speculators even think...
I've never heard that.
I've never heard that too. That's why I pause for a second. Will be the beast, but though this is not a very well supported view. However, literally raising the dead seems to be a divine prerogative. This verse being the only hint that Satan might be allowed to perform such an act. If the devil cannot raise the dead, he may be able to heal the beast who receives an otherwise mortal wound, saving him from death. This would certainly lead people to worship or follow this political leader. However this plays out in the real world, the entire world will marvel at the revival of the Roman Empire at the head of the empire. It's trickery.
Yeah, but I don't believe that angels can bring people back to life. And that's all the Satan is. This is not a fight.
It's going to be smoke and mirrors.
Exactly. This is not an equal fight. we always believe, we always have in our mind that it's God against Satan, that it's some equal part against some equal part. We have the God of the universe who created the Satan, who can crush him like a bug with just the snort of his nostril. He's not that freaking powerful. He's just a little bit more powerful than us, but he is a lot less powerful than God. He cannot bring people back to life. So this will be a counterfeit.
Yeah, it's good smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, it will be a counterfeit. I'm given the understanding now that we have new technology. Now, I'm not saying this is what it's going to be, so don't call, don't write, don't try to block us, because I'm saying, Robbie said this is what it is. No, we see now, if you go on the internet, social media, all the new AI videos are unbelievably realistic.
Yeah.
Now, there are glitches because they can't get everything right.
Right. But as soon as you look at it, you're like this, like, whoa.
You can see sometimes they're so dramatic and so
they're
flamboyant
obvious.
that they're obvious.
But there's some, it's like you start looking, then you start looking at the detail, how it's matrixed in the back.
But I do believe that there will be a time where we will not know real or fake unless we're standing there watching it. And I believe that technology, hologram, whatever will be
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe that it's going to be fake, because Satan cannot bring people back to life. He cannot create miracles. All he can create is, like you said, smoke and mirrors, just little whatever, little pops here and there. He can't turn water into wine. He can't bring people back to the dead. He can't walk on water. He can't do everything that Christ does. He just counterfeits it in a minor way to try to get you to believe that he is more powerful. And the way that some of these people are now, that they believe anything that a government says, or somebody that they follow on TikTok or Twitter says something, and I've got to buy that. I've got to do that. I've got to share that political view, and just think that God is going to give them over to a deluded and resolute mind, a horrible mind. He's going to allow their mind to be corrupted easily with this. People that follow the beast God is going to give them up to a mind that is easily deceived. And he's going to easily deceive them with this stuff. Like you said, the smoke and mirrors. Where were we? 4?
4.
Sorry, I can get going right there. So they worship the dragon. See, they worship the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast, and who is able to make war with him?" See, this is worship. The number one thing that he wants so bad. The number one thing. Does it look like we're on?
Yeah, we're on.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
The barbecue joint. Sorry, I saw they have the greatest ribs ever. The dragon who gave authority to the beast, that's Satan, gave authority to this beast, the part of the Trinity, the second part of the Trinity here. The evil Trinity, as you would say. And he gave him authority about it. And gave him authority to deceive people. The internet's going to be crappy for a while.
Yeah, we're still on. I was just making sure.
4. Satan cannot. Okay, I just did that. What do you have for 4, please?
Hold on. I was just making sure if it was still online.
Yeah.
Okay. The verse provides a stark assessment of the religious, the spiritual, and end times. The dragon described earlier passages is Satan. In other words, devil worshipping will accompany the rise from the beast from the sea. Worshippers will recognize Satan's empowered the beast, but they will also worship the beast. This worship is deification of man. The worshiper assumes that the beast is so powerful that no one can fight against it. The end times figure commonly called Antichrist, will grasp all power in his hands and will oppose and exalt himself against every so-called God or object of worship. He will even proclaim himself to be God. 2 Thessalonians 2:4.
That's the abomination of desolation.
Like the Caesars of old, he places himself in the role of God and demands worship. This is not hard to believe. Worship will ascribe to this man. So, to some extent, this trend is apparent today as people virtually worship charismatic religious leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Some even hand over all their property to religious leaders, ingest poison.
Mm-hmm.
The flight guy, I can't remember what that was, if asked to do so. Remember they were supposed to get on a comet?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember that one.
Yeah.
The Antichrist will be so empowered by Satan, possibly even being supernaturally healed, Revelation 13:3, making it even more likely that people would respond to worship.
And it's fake. It's just, that's all it is.
It was a doomsday cult, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
They said
Steve Koresh or something like, no, that was Koresh was in Waco.
They were going to get on a comet.
Yeah, but and he did like all the people drank the Kool-Aid, literally Kool-Aid, and was killed because they believed that
they were
the end of the world and it was gonna bot or something.
And weren't we kids when that happened, or teenagers?
Yeah.
So even 20, 30 years ago.
So, but these he's going to be fake.
Mm-hmm.
He can't create anything. He can't heal anything. But they're going to
create chaos.
Well, he can create chaos by what he's doing. As we speak right here, he's giving him power and blaspheming God, and it's going to be easy because look at the 1% of the population now. The 1% controls the 99% now, just because they speak louder and just because we don't want to fight and we're busy going to work while they're protesting. We're busy at work while they're protesting, right? So we don't have time to go out and protest. We have jobs to pay for whatever they're doing. But he's going to counterfeit everything. And it's going to look like he's got juice, but he doesn't have juice. This is worldly power, which means jack squat nothing. What Christ did on earth was a big deal, but it was just to show how big he was outside of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
He was just here to say, hey, I can do this easily on earth. Just think what I did in heaven. I breathe the earth and everything in existence with just the snort of my nostril. It was easy for Christ to do what he did here on the earth. I'm not downgrading it. Please don't tell me I'm not. He had to sacrifice his life. He had to show miracles of who he was. He was God, to bring his followers closer to him and give an example of that and say, hey, this is showing what you read in Isaiah, what you read in Ezekiel, what you read in Genesis. Hey, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Okay? I'm not downgrading his miracles. But it was easy for him to do that. The same guy that created the intricacy of my wife through DNA and nucleus and turned her into what she was and molded her in her face, molded her in her mother's womb. Now, I know that you didn't burst from your mother's loins.
No, I was
you were
cut out.
But you were molded perfectly.
But she still carried me.
You were molded perfectly in your mother's womb by the hands of our Savior. He molded you with his own hands perfectly. And you grew the way that you were supposed to grow. So everything he is easy. The devil cannot do any of that. He counterfeits that by faking that stuff. So they're going to be, their mind is going to be so weak and so deceived that he's going to be able to deceive them, no problem. They can deceive them right now. We're in 2025, and if somebody like this, somebody powerful, came up and actually showed this now, there will be millions of people that would be deceived and follow him.
You got 25 minutes. We only get an hour on TikTok.
And he has given a mouth. This is 5.
Yeah.
Check 5. Now.
Sorry to catch up. I just looked at the time.
And he has given a mouth. Sorry, I get off the
I
road.
know. Well, we only get an hour on TikTok, so sorry, guys.
He has given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And he was given authority to continue for 42 months. What is 42 months?
Don't ask me to do math right now.
Oh, okay. Is that?
Well, it's 42 months is 2 years is 24, so it'd be
24.
almost 4 years.
Yeah. 3.5 years.
Yeah.
3.5 years. Yeah. He's given authority for 3.5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That this is we're talking about the last 3.5 years of tribulation, where the God says, "Okay, I'm going to use you, devil, to get my will done and my judgment put upon this earth." He's given a mouth speaking blasphemies. The Antichrist will be noted for his eloquent and ability to move masses. That's pretty easy these days. I guarantee you that right now. Our younger groups, there's a lot of them that are powerful men and women of God or children of God.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them are easily swayed by whatever AOC says or whatever Democrat congressman that they like or whatever Prada model or rock star who can sing just a little bit says or does. This is what I follow. This is what I wear. This is what I eat. This is what I do. This is what I do that. Just because they're good looking or popular, hey, I'm going to listen to them. Where is that? Okay. As a leader of a cult, he will not only capture the attention and an admiration of the world, but will accept the worship of its people. 2 Thessalonians 2. Go ahead.
Revelation 13:1 as a boastful, blasphemous, the Antichrist. This is hardly a new approach. Like evil dictators before him, the beast glories in his accomplishments. He is smug, and his ego extends to the heavens. King Nebuchadnezzar displayed this attitude. He vented his pride by constructing a huge golden image on the plain of Dura.
Yeah, plain of Dura.
At the dedication of the image, he decreed that the music be played as it sounded. Every person must fall down and worship the image or be cast into the burning furnace. Daniel 3:1-7. Another time, he walked on the roof of his place and he gloated, "Is this not the greatest Babylon which I have built by my mighty power as a royal resident for the glory of my majesty?" Daniel 4:28-30.
What a moron.
While possessed overflowing pride at the beginning of the times of the Gentiles, the beast from the sea possesses overflowing pride at the end of the times of the Gentiles. The beast also commits blasphemy. I can't talk today.
Blasphemy.
Thank you. I need something to drink. He sees himself as God. Nevertheless, his reign will not be last beyond the 3.5 years, according to the verse Daniel 7:25.
Yeah.
Also notes that he is blasphemous, but will resign for a times and a half a time,
That's
which means
years.
1 year, 2 year, and a year and a half for 3.5 years in total.
Yeah.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah. He opens his mouth with it in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. So he's blaspheming people in heaven. He can't beat them, so he's just cursing them, and his followers are doing the same. And he's just bringing more followers in and more followers in. But believe me when I say this. Now, there are going to be more people in hell than there is in heaven. Unfortunately, that's the case. It is a narrow gate that leads to life.
And God didn't put them there. They put themselves there.
And a lot of people, millions of people, maybe even billions of people will follow this man and blaspheme God. There's people in hell right now blaspheming the God of heaven, cursing his name because it said they're
gnashing of their teeth.
Yeah, they're wailing and gnashing of teeth. The gnashing of teeth is like, how dare you throw me in hell?
He didn't throw you there.
How
You threw
dare
yourself
you do
there.
this to me? And the wailing is like, I do deserve this.
Mhm.
I do deserve this. I wish I was not here. I wish I had done better. Because all those things in your mind are going through the times you should share the gospel, the times you should have gave your life fully to Christ. But God just says, okay, if that's what you want to do, I'm going to.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah, he's not going to force himself on you.
Nope.
Just like me, I'm not going to force
Doesn't mean
myself
it doesn't
on
break his heart.
It does shred him. He has a great compassion. He does not love everybody unconditionally. The rebellious people, he does not love them. He says
He wants to love you.
He
wants you to
he
love
has
him.
great compassion and great goodwill for you, for all the world. That's the kind of love, goodwill. I want goodwill for the homeless person. I have goodwill. I love them in that way. But unconditionally, I would not love them the same way that I love you.
No.
God does not love me the same way that he loves a rebellious sinner that spits in his face. It's just not possible. You cannot love another man the way that you love me,
No.
right? You love me differently.
Yes.
Because I'm yours.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot love some stranger or somebody that you work with in the same way that you love me. So that's the way that God thinks about the rebellious soul who is rebelling against him. He's given them an option. He's given them pastors and preachers and teachers and people in their life that have seeded and watered the gospel for them. Because nobody is going to go without, nobody on the face of the earth is going to go without hearing the gospel. There's going to be seeds thrown at them.
Well, everybody has to hear it before he comes back.
Yeah, there's going to be a last person. Then he opened his mouth. Okay, 7.
No, you were on 6. I thought. Maybe.
Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle in the nose, and dwell in heaven. And it was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And authority was given over him, every tribe, tongue, and nation. Now, these are the saints on the earth.
Was that 6 or 7?
That was 6 and 7.
Okay.
You can read 7 because I just did a commentary on freaking 6. But he will have authority to kill certain of the saints on the earth, the people that have given their lives to Christ. You will have an option. Even in the worst time, which is now the 3.5 years that the beast has been given authority, and you will have an option to follow or be killed.
Mm-hmm.
And he will have authority to kill the saints. God will not protect him at that time. You will be able to wash your white robe in the tribulation period, which we saw before. Remember that some of the robes were crimson, and they were being washed.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you're being washed in the tribulation period. You're being tested. Your face is being tested. Those people. Go ahead.
The Antichrist becomes a worldwide power. The whole world will feel the impact of his rule. He will exercise his authority over tribe, people, language, and nation. Mm-hmm. No doubt there will be no law but his law. Mm-hmm. No one will be able to disagree with him or fail to worship him without risking life. Revelations 13:15. Mm-hmm. A tyrant with that kind of power would likely make it almost impossible for a country to offer asylum to anyone who opposes him. However, many who accept the message preached by the 144,000 will provide shelter and food for persecuted believers. Revelations 12:14, Matthew 25:31 through 40. The beast will make the saints, meaning those who are saved, God's people, his personal target. He will conquer the saints, meaning he will be able to oppress, kill, abuse them. However, he will be unable to destroy their faith or fully exterminate them. Revelation 15:2. Today, many believers around the world are being martyred for their faith in Christ, but neither tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword or even death can separate believers from the love of God in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Romans 8.
Yeah, Romans 8:35 and 38 through 39.
That's good stuff. Yeah. He's just given authority at this time to, like you said, oppress, kill, whatever. God's hands are covered the 144,000. Now, the witnesses, the other people that are saved through their preaching of the gospel, we have the two witnesses we've already read about. They're preaching the gospel. Later on, you're going to see something more glorious than that, which is the angel in heaven preaching the gospel. Now, this is going to be in the most darkest of days. But the 144,000 are spread across all the planet, and they're preaching the gospel. And these saints that are being preached to, that have given their life to Christ, will be oppressed, killed, but they cannot clean them out. All who dwell in the earth will worship him, whose name has not been, whose names have not been written in the book of the Lamb, slain for the foundation of the world. Your name is written in the Lamb's book of life. From the foundation of the earth, the ones who follow Christ and the ones who will follow Christ, their names have been written in the Lamb's book of life since the beginning, before the beginning. Since before creation existed, in eternity past, when it was just the Trinity of God, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, your name was written in the Lamb's book of life. Christy's name, Christine Stovall, was written. I don't think you do hyphenated there. I think you give the original name. But your name is written in the Lamb's. As long as it's there, your name is was written in the Lamb's book of life. That's the only way that you're going to get into heaven. He knew from the beginning. Now, he does not mold your future. He does not turn you. He does not do anything. He gives you free will. But he knew, because God sees time in a sheet all at once. He saw eternity past and eternity future all in one section. He does not, generate stuff over here. Now, he guides, he speaks through his word, he speaks through other people to guide you, but he's not going to grab your shoulders and move you, But he knew from eternity past that Christine was going to give her life to him and conform to his will and conform to his son. He knew from eternity past. So your name, what we just said right here, is right next to these saints right here already. Before eternity past, your name is written there. My name is written there. Whoever's name here that's following Christ, your name is written there. That's pretty darn cool. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 years ago in eternity past, when creation didn't even exist, God knew that you were going to follow him.
Yep.
Crazy good. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. That's obvious. He who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He who kills with a sword must be killed with a sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Pretty darn cool stuff right there. Pretty cool. What do you have? Let me give you 9 and 10.
This is going to be for 9. The invitation extended in this verse reminds us of a similar call given to the 7 churches of Asia Minor, Revelations 2 through 3. This invitation, however, is addressed more broadly to all Christians as individuals, because the church will be raptured to heaven before the tribulation.
Woo.
God always speaks to those who accept his invitation to listen. Matthew 11:15, Mark 4:9, Luke 8:8. During the tribulation, most of mankind will heed to the dictates of the beast from the sea. A remnant of faithful believers who listen to the Lord's voice. In Revelation 18:4, the Lord's people will hear him summon them and come out of Babylon. Although some believers may think it is wise to join hearts and hands with the evil world system, Paul emphasizes the importance of not letting the world conform us to its mold. He wrote, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind."
Yep.
That this is, I think, a different version. That by testing, you read the right one.
What do you got?
I don't like this version.
Romans 12:2.
Yeah, I don't like that version. Sorry. There's certain versions I just don't like. and I don't like that one. It started out right, and then it started changing the words, and I didn't like it.
Sorry.
This is a great commentary, but sometimes I don't agree with the translations they use, and that's my
Sometimes
thought and
they
opinion.
use squirrely ones.
And that's my thought and opinion.
Was it 12:2?
Yeah.
And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, that's my thought and my opinion on that translation.
New King James.
Yeah.
I read New King James.
To each their own.
She loves 1995 NASB.
No condemnation here. Just I didn't like the version they used.
Sometimes I think that was the 2020.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So.
But that's it for today.
Yeah.
God bless you all. We will pick up what is it next week?
I thought you said
13. But
13.
I wanted to get the beast from the earth.
Mm.
What my Bible describes it as. We're going to do 11. Yeah, we'll finish it off 11 through 18 next week, and then we'll hit the 144,000 the week after. The lamb and the 144,000 the week after. But thank you for joining us. Hey, there we had 4 viewers there for a second.
Hey, better than none.
TikTok, give us a shout. Say, hey, how you doing? Share it. Share it with your friends, family, even your enemies. Share us with that. We'll take that too.
Yep.
But truly love you guys. God bless. We'll see you